I want to go back to what Hillary, Charlotte, and Cassie were sharing about EMDR therapy. Do you have
Mhm.
anything to say on that, Melody?
I do.
Great, awesome. Because Hillary has used it, I think Cassie has, and Charlotte had some questions about it. So hopefully,
Yeah. Now, I will say with full disclosure that I am not trained in EMDR, so I speak to this as having a background in social work. I'm a licensed social worker and I teach at the graduate level, but I am not an EMDR practitioner. So I will just speak from my what I know from the research, which is that EMDR, it stands for eye movement desensitization. I always forget what the R is. Um,
Reprocessing.
Reprocessing. Thank you very much. Um, but it is a intense method of therapy that involves, as you can guess, eye movements, and uh, it is very useful for particularly unlocking trauma and helping you change a lot of your thinking about um, situations you may not even you may have been unconsciously stuck on. So releasing a lot of unconscious blocks that may be standing in your way. And it's a pretty time limited therapy as well, which is why, and it brings up a lot. So you really need to find a trained EMDR therapist who can take you through this. And I understand now there are people who do EMDR virtually, which I don't know that much about. But it's highly effective. I mean, in the research, it is highly effective in the research. It's considered pretty much like a gold standard in therapy now, right next to CBT. So it can be very powerful for anyone who particularly has a background where they know there may be some mental health uh, challenges as well. So
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, and I have personally done EMDR for the last year and a half, I want to say, and I always bring it up in every conversation pretty much about mental health and therapy.
Yeah.
I think my team gets a little sick of it sometimes because I'm like, this is
We
something
don't.
that's been amazing. Cassie is on my team as well.
She's why I'm in EMDR.
I was diagnosed with PTSD a while ago, and it really has been the most helpful and something that really does, kind of what was talked about, where you're separating that voice, that kind of internal monologue, because my internal monologue was very much stuck in that, and it included so much imposter syndrome. So being able to see those as different was really what EMDR allowed me to do. And it's interesting. It's not only eye movement. My therapist, when we did it in office, actually had this little machine that had paddles, so it would like buzz in each hand. So there's other options too, like for if maybe you're like sight impaired or something like that. So there's a lot of options for everyone. There's actually, if you're in the Seattle area, there's a group that does it that I have found. And so there's lots of options there. I've been able to do it remotely for the last years. So highly recommend it for anyone that's had a history in any kind of trauma. And it is something too that if you have, one trauma experience, like say you're in a car accident, that's still really useful for it. Whereas like I'm dealing with a lot of like childhood trauma. So yeah, it's been an amazing process, and it has allowed me so much to at least see when that imposter syndrome exists. I may not be able to completely get over it, but it has allowed me to see so much of that. So yeah,
It's incredible. Thank you so much for sharing. It's
yeah.
it's really, I have heard nothing but good experiences. So
It's hard though. To your point, what you said, absolutely, it's a very hard experience. You got to go in, building a really good relationship with your therapist, the way that my therapist did it. This is the first time I started doing it, was a year and a half ago, and there's a lot of building up to it and creating safe spaces, but it is still a really, really difficult thing to go through, but completely worth it if you've felt that you've gone through trauma in any way, and it does help to split you apart from that trauma, I guess. I don't know how to phrase it well right now, but it's one of those things that has helped me heal so much throughout this process.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.